chicken and rice. Hope a banana slips down your throat.
I don't even got a banana in here, dumbass.
Oh, because you're going to come at me and tell me that your normal meal in the off season or in general in the beginning of a prep is not chicken, rice, banana, and a little almond butter.
Well, we're not at the beginning of prep.
Apologize.
I'm 6 weeks out, you bimbo.
Well, you're in shape, so you should be eating your normal food. That's what I would assume. Anyway,
I gotta be peeled, bro.
How we looking? It's my
me or him?
You.
Not me.
I'm gonna introduce Jeremy in 2 seconds.
I look great.
Yeah. Are we gonna stop doing? Are we gonna stop doing posts? Because I know sometimes you normally stop doing progress pics and like pull back and you're like,
see, I haven't really posted any of this whole prep.
You have here and there, probably every 3 weeks.
No, but I'm not posting any. Since everyone wants to count me the fuck out, I'm gonna blow it up their asshole on stage.
Well, before I get into that, because that's where I was gonna start. Jeremy Buendia, what's up, bud?
What's up, brother? It's been a while.
Well, why don't you tell the people how we ended up here, actually? Because this was
yeah, because I wasn't going to be on the podcast as it was, so I told him.
No, that's not. You're on my podcast already.
Yeah,
get out of here.
You've had it for how long now? We've been friends for how many years?
Dude, you were on the original one that I remember, the podcast I had with the other Nick. You were on it twice. You don't remember that?
No,
bro.
Yeah, that's not this podcast, bro. So
I know
we don't live in the past.
You came on it. You were my first guest. You and Rodin, and then I had you on a couple weeks later. It wasn't like this. It was just just an audio one. It was called Coming In Hot. I had it when I was with that other company. You were on it twice, dude. Yeah.
Dude, I've been in the game for a lot longer than people think.
I know, dude. So real quick, Jeremy, you turned pro what year?
2013. Okay,
because so a little bit after me, because I'm a little older, but we kind of came up the ranks together. So that was when physique was still very fresh,
just starting out. I did the very first men's physique Olympia,
and that was Mark Anthony won that one, correct?
Mark Anthony won that one. Took second.
And if you guys think back, I'm trying not to sound like a dick saying this. If you look at men's physique winner then and the bikini winner back then, their physiques, not the muscle, but like what they were looking for were very similar. Like Mark Anthony had like a slimmer, like he was in shape, but a sort of physique, like attainable. And then what was Nicole Negrani was her name?
That was the year before. I think it was Natalia Mello.
Again,
she was kind of ahead of her time though, anyways.
Yeah, but still, she was very slender. She didn't have like peeled legs and lines and like that big round ass. It was smaller. Her glutes, like it was much different back then. The evolution of that from then until now is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it has grown a lot. It's changed dramatically. I won my first Olympia in 2014. I was 161 on stage. Wow. Last year's Olympia, I weighed in at 193. So it's been a big jump.
So since we're talking about Olympias, because I want to start talking about Nick and touching on his prep being 6 weeks out. What was it like competing at the O, being the champ, and then taking years off, and then coming back? And I never asked you, I don't think specifically, because obviously we do stay in contact and we chatted up here and there, but I don't think I ever asked, because I saw online that everybody said that his abs were washed out or this happened, and I thought you looked great. I thought you looked like you were holding a little water, but overall I thought you looked very, very good. Yeah. So what was it like coming back after years off, transitioning from being the top Olympia to then being a father to then coming back to the O stage, and then how did you feel after the show? And there's any aspiration of doing it again?
Yeah, I mean, coming back, was more at the beginning of my prep was more to just try to build myself up again, regain a lot of things. I didn't walk away from the stage I wanted to. I had completely sabotaged my reputation, and after accomplishing so much in the sport and then leaving that way, everybody had a sour taste in their mouth about me. So I had to do a lot of growing over the last 4 years, having a family, getting married, having kids. It changes you a lot. I've also been pursuing my spiritual journey, a lot more than I have been in the past. And, as you get older, you change. I mean, I'm sure you guys are different in your 30s than you were in your 20s. I made some
40s.
really 40s, Nick just turned 30. I'm sure we all made some
Yeah.
poor decisions when we were in our 20s, and I was stupid. I had a different perspective on life. And I was young. I had a shit ton of money, and I had success come to me really, really fast. And I was trying to live this rock star lifestyle, and it backfired on me, which I'm glad it did, because if I would have kept doing the same shit, I would have kept digging myself a deeper and deeper hole. So it stopped when it needed to stop, and I learned the lesson I needed to learn, and that's why I came back to Olympia, because I wanted to go out my way and try to bring my best. And every single Olympia I've done, I've never felt that I was my 100%. Nobody's seen me at my best. I always look great leading up into the show, and then I blow the last few days. And that's exactly what happened again this year. At the beginning of my prep, for me, it was just like trying to get in the top 10 again and be competitive. I had people saying the sport completely outgrown me, and I was a thing of the past. And I believed that for a while. I was getting back into things. My body started changing slowly. And then, 6 weeks out, my body started to come alive again. And then that's when my confidence started building up. And 4 weeks out, 3 weeks out, oh shit, Jeremy's going to be a competitor. I went from being not even talking about top 10 to he might be in top 7 to top 4 to Jeremy might win this. So, I had a lot of confidence going out to my Orlando. Like, my intentions that last 2 weeks were, I've worked my ass off to get here. I'm going to go win this shit like I know how to do. And we were on point all the way through. I remember going to the gym and kissing me on, I think it was Wednesday or Thursday.
Yeah.
I think it was Thursday, because I had just started loading up. And I got like 3 meals in. I think we did the check-ins that day. After check-ins, I went and trained with some of the guys at Kiss Me Muscle Gym. And there were a lot of people, and that place was packed.
Yeah, place gets packed.
And, a bunch of other coaches were in there, the other physique guys, a bunch of the Brazil dudes were in there. And I was training with the Filipino guys, Jeremy Potvin, Jonas, Jimena, and my guy, Jovan Sagabain. And I felt so damn good that day. I remember taking off my tee, and I was training in my stringer, and it was turning heads. And I took off my stringer, and I had Omar Ventura come up to me. I'm pretty sure Cuts was there. A couple other guys came up to me, like, damn, dude, we did it. You might take this whole thing. And then I posted that video that same day, and it got like, I don't know, like how many views, like 7 million views or something.
That's the one that went viral, right?
Yeah. And I was good. And then we just blew it the last few days. For one, it got stressful towards that end, because now my expectations are a lot higher. And then, I wasn't sleeping because I was busy doing interviews, talking. A bunch of people were coming into my Airbnb to say hi to me.
It's almost like that adrenaline rush that like you haven't had in a couple of years, and you're trying to do everything at once when you probably shouldn't have been doing anything.
Yeah. And then, after, leading up, we started carbon up on Thursday. No, take that back, Wednesday. So I was doing like 800 grams of carbs. We tested this out, weeks before. We figured out how much food I needed to get full, because I didn't cut water at all, or didn't take any diuretics, because I was ready. So we did like 800 grams of carbs. And then I woke up the next day still feeling a little flat, did another 700. And then I still was flat on Friday, but by that time I wasn't going to the bathroom. I couldn't poop. So I wasn't pushing.
Even without usually you stop shitting when you cut water.
I know. I couldn't poop. So I don't know why. Maybe it was just stress and nerves.
Yeah.
So I kept eating because I thought I was flat, and I ended up, I wasn't. I mean, I might have put on like 7 pounds in those 3 days. I was filled up, but I just didn't have that pop. So we kept eating and eating, trying to counter that. And I spilled over like bad.
Nick, do you ever run into digestion issues getting close to a show ever? Because
I would, but no.
No.
Nope.
You have a secret for that?
For me, no, not honestly, dude. I think because of the relationship, again, like me and Matt have, he just knows how to keep me very calm and relaxed. And I just think that helps everything kind of just flow. And when I'm in that type of mindset, there's usually never an issue.
So, because there's nothing worse than waking up and having to shit and not being able to shit. You can't pose right. I woke up knowing I was off, and that's not a good feeling.
That's the worst feeling. Honestly, that's the worst feeling.
There's
nothing worse than what he said. There's nothing worse than like getting all that confidence back and then just knowing you just fucked up.
Yep.
Yeah.
I could always tell the morning of the show, I could just step out of bed and I could take one step, and just by how my legs felt
I
walking
know
to
what
the
you're talking
bathroom,
about.
Yeah.
before I even put the fucking light on,
Mhm.
I already knew I was either gonna be fucking excited or we're gonna have to play catch up before I even turn the light on. You
Yep.
know, but Nick, do you take any, I know we've talked about digestion stuff, but do you take any like fiber supplements or any like stuff like that to help you go? So
Never.
I take every single night, and I'll give him a shout out, fucking my boy Dave Palumbo. Um, Dave, I've been using his Fibrilize since 2007, and I don't think I've gone a day, maybe I've gone a day without. I literally take Fibrilize, I take a green supplement, and I mix it with Trojan Horse, which is a thing from another company that I've had for a while. It's for digestion and stuff. But I take that every night, even when I travel. That's the last thing I take before I go to bed, even when I'm competing, and you have to mix it with water. Because if I don't take, I don't remember a morning waking up, even when dieting, even the morning of a show. I wake up every morning and take a shit. So there is not one day that I have woken up
The
in the
must.
morning and started my day. The what? What
Taking
did
a
you
shit.
call it? The mups.
Oh, I know. I get, when I know the morning of a show, when I take a nice good poop, I'm like, it's about to be a good day.
Yep. Because you
You
feel
know?
all clean inside and empty.
Yeah.
I didn't get that last year.
Really?
No, I couldn't poop.
Let me ask you a question. Did you ever try a colonic
No, I did the
enema?
I did the senna leaf tea 2 days before, and I went a little bit, but I think I should have waited because it didn't work the next day. I feel like my sensitivity went down or
Yeah.
whatever. I don't
I
every time
tell
I've done that, you can't do that thing. You can't do those 2 days in a row. It doesn't work the same.
what, the Centerleaf?
Mhm.
So anytime my clients start having digestion issues, I tell them find a colonic place by your house, because what happens, like colonics, I would get at least every other month when I was getting ready for a show, and then like probably 3 weeks out, I would go like twice in 1 week, and that would always, if I ever started getting, because I never not went, but there were times where I didn't go because I go more than once a day constantly. I've never just gone once a day. So during prep, I would go like once and then maybe again. And for me, that's not normal. So then I would go get colonics and it would like reset my bowels and I would start being normal again. And it rips all that shit out of your intestinal tract. So a lot of people don't realize, like Nick eats probably how many pounds of protein he eats a day. And even though it gets digested, a lot of that stuff does get stuck to the wall in the intestines, and it doesn't ever leave until you get it forced out like a colonic or a procedure. Like Nick, if you ever feel like your stomach's like bloated or whatever, and you got a colonic, you'd probably lose 5 pounds because of how much stuff would come out
I
of your
did one.
intestines. Oh,
I
you
did
have?
one. Yeah,
Did
I
it
did one
did it
last
help your
year
stomach?
before the Arnold, actually.
Oh,
And it was the most awkward, weird feeling of my entire life, and I will probably never do it again.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it,
for
man.
somebody that likes getting their butt licked, I don't understand how a
Like,
little water in your
I
coolie
know,
bothers
right? But
you.
I had the girl that was like setting it up. She was like, oh, in there, like trying to
Oh,
keep
no,
me
no, 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 no,
calm.
no,
But like,
no,
she
no.
was like rubbing my toes and I'm
Like,
like,
what?
yo, I'm like, you got to get the
Where did
fuck
you
out. Like, I'm
go?
shit.
You went to some Vegas
Someplace
place,
in
didn't you?
Vegas, yeah.
I knew it. I knew it.
Man.
Bro, the place in Jersey,
She was
you,
like rubbing my toes. She's like, just be calm,
Oh my God.
squeezed, and let it out. And I'm
dude,
like, get the fuck out.
yes,
Like,
that's weird. I don't want to
yeah.
shit when there's
So,
somebody in the room.
and it was like
It's a
an
medical
hour long,
procedure.
bro. It was the
Yes,
longest
yeah.
hour of my life. And I'm like, I have no desire to ever do this again. I'd rather stick one of those
Do
enemas
people go
up.
there to relax?
I don't know. I was
So,
confused by the whole thing.
so where I go, Nick, I walk in, they check me in. They go, all right, guy, go into that room. I go into the room. It's all set up. I go on the thing, put that little fucking thing of tubing in your butt, hit the on button. I sit back. Nobody comes into my room until I'm fucking done, and nobody comes in my room at all. I'm done. I get
Oh,
up,
listen, I'm
clean
not
up.
gonna lie, bro. Like I had to have her put it in. I couldn't do it, bro. I couldn't get it. I couldn't do it. Yeah, I'll be honest about that. I was like, oh, I can't. I need you to kind of numb that in there.
This would be my episode, just shoving shit up our asses, right?
Hey, listen, this stuff.
Listen, I had to do it.
Oh my gosh, man. Well, speaking of digestion and Olympias, Nick, 6 weeks
Yeah.
out. So we have Jeremy, you won 4 or 5
Huh? Oh,
Olympias.
4 Olympias.
4. So how do you feel 6 weeks out versus the other Olympia 6 weeks out? I think
honestly,
is your
feel
internet
better.
off on your phone?
No, my internet's on. Why?
Because I'm clear, Jeremy's clear as day, and you're like a little oddly pixelated, and I don't know why.
Yeah, I got shit internet. I'm working on it. All right.
Oh, that's all you had to say. I didn't know. I just trying to figure out if it's like my internet because we had a bad storm
No.
last night.
But I honestly feel probably better. First of all, I'm still relatively heavy and a lot leaner at this weight too. I was 271 this morning.
Wow.
And I do feel like my waist is a lot tighter than what it was at New York. Okay, so we'll revert back to that. I did have digestion problems a little bit in New York. I don't know if that was from a combination of some oral, some food sources that I was having at the time, because after the show, literally as soon as the show was done, I eliminated a lot of shit and my stomach was completely fine.
Huh.
So,
Okay.
but now back, I'm going back to like the way I used to train, you know. I'm still like being what?
I said I thought you were, and then I see you almost like, which is I think is a good thing. I see you almost like grip and rip, and then some days almost like slow it down and do like full range of
Yeah,
motion. Like
listen,
so
I'm always the big advocate of perfection form, you know, very slow eccentric reps, control, squeeze, and I will never not do that ever. But sometimes I just want to fucking throw some shit around and have fun, and I'm gonna do it. And that's makes it fun. And I just think when you make it fun, everything just responds better.
Yeah.
So like today, I did, you know, at the end of my leg workout, I said, fuck it, I want to deadlift. So I decided to deadlift. And I did like 3 sets of 500 for like 3 reps. Or 6 reps for 3 sets. So
sometimes you have to fall in love with the process all over again because you kind of forget what you forget what started you and what made you who you are was walking into that gym and doing that kind of shit, you know?
yeah,
I think a lot of people fucking forget that stuff.
like I said, I feel like the way I train now, obviously, I think has progressed my physique, has helped me tremendously. But like you just said, sometimes you just can't forget what you used to do, and sometimes you just gotta have fun with it and do it. And deadlifting was always one of my favorite exercises, and just to get back under a bar like that, it just feels good.
You wouldn't
Now,
if you don't love what you do doing this, it makes it miserable. It's not nobody will put themselves through that suffering unless they have a passion and a fire for it.
Exactly.
That's how I feel. You know, for me, this last prep, it was hard to enjoy because of how beat up my body was. So every time I go in the gym, I was going through, you know, I was hurting. Everything hurt every body part. So every time I go in the gym and train, I had to be careful. I'd be very methodical. You couldn't just go in there and you know, let loose.
bash yourself like we used
That's
to.
how I used to train. I used to train heavy, hard, crazy intensity. And you know, now I got issues everywhere. So it take the fun out of it. So as far as like, you know, competing, you know, I got through it. I did what I could do at, you know, 60, 70%. But if I was 100%, you know, I would be
5 times.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have the excitement, the passion, the belief in that. But the fact that I know I'm not training as efficiently as I used to, that's a steeper uphill climb. And you got all these great athletes that are training 100%, that have amazing genetics. It's evolved. You can't be 70% and expect to win at this level.
No,
I agree.
and that's and there's a big path I'm going to go down in a second, but I want to ask Nick one more question because he said something. So Nick, I remember we talked about when you hurt. I was going to say hurt your hamstring. So I saw you deadlift a couple weeks ago and I was surprised. did you stop deadlifting just because of the sheer, like, you know what, I'd rather not do it just in case? Or did you, because I remember years ago, you used to be a big, especially with stiff leg deadlifts, you used to be a big stiff leg advocate guy. I was always used to doing stiff legs.
Yeah.
So it was it because of the hamstring injury last year that kind of pulled you away from it, and now you're going back to it, or it never really bothered you after that? It was never really a thought.
No,
Injuries
because
like
I
that
mean,
have taken a while to, like, for me to get
it
there
took me
again.
a while. Like when I started to train hamstrings again, after the injury, I only did lying leg curl and seated leg curl.
Yeah.
And everyone thinks, I injured it doing a stiff leg. That's not at all. I wasn't even training legs when I did it. But because I know the risk of the exercise,
No, that's what I
didn't.
meant.
Yeah,
That's
I
what I meant.
also didn't want to jump right back into it immediately. So obviously for New York, I still didn't really stiff leg. I did majority of lying leg curl and seated leg curl. And every once in a while, I would like go on the Smith, just put a plate on and kind of, just
Feel it out.
get a nice stretch in there. Yeah. Like, okay, this is all right.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Walk away.
Yeah, that's it. One set, nice little stretch. We're good to go.
Have a good day.
But then this prep, I really started to do more stiff-legged stuff again. Very light, but just be more intense with it. And it felt fine. And I'm like, you know what? Like I didn't injure it this way. I don't even know how I did it. And I'm like, I'm not gonna let something in my mind take away from something I love, So I just said, fuck it. And I think, in my opinion, you can correct me if you think I'm wrong. I personally think a stiff leg deadlift is a lot more dangerous of an exercise for the hamstring than an actual direct deadlift. So that's another correlation of why I've done more of a direct deadlift than an actual stiff leg itself. And honestly, I love it. I just think it's fun, dude.
Well, that's why I asked, because doing a stiff leg deadlift is
it wasn't
probably the biggest
fear
risk.
It was
No,
more
it's a
like,
risk.
let me kind of, yeah.
It's risk to reward. What's the risk of doing it worth? What do you get out of it? And if the risk is there's probably a good chance it's going to tear, then there's probably a good chance you shouldn't do it.
But there's always that huge debate, though, right?
Absolutely.
Because people are like, oh, deadlifts is one of the best exercises you can do. And then you got other people saying, oh, deadlifts is a waste of time. There's other exercises that are way more beneficial.
How about
you teeter-totter it? But
how about the guys that say that?
I just think deadlifts are probably one of the ultimate fucking exercises if you do it right. But
what about the people that say this is a good one? Deadlifting makes your waist wider. I'm like, what?
Oh yeah. So does squats, apparently.
Yeah.
Jeremy, how many times in your career did you don't deadlift heavy?
I mean, that was what everybody, when men's physique started, everybody was assuming that, and that's why nobody did it. I was coming.
Were you one of them or no? You were, because
myself and my coach were believers in that at the time.
Yeah.
So he didn't have me do it. I came from bodybuilding before, so I always had decent legs on me. So, that's why I didn't train my legs as hard, because we were focusing on just my body.
Yeah.
At the time, that's what everybody was believing. I thought that too. That's why we all wore these squeams and belted up and stayed away from that.
I mean, there's so many guys that deadlifted and squatted all the time. I just feel I always believed, and I could be wrong, but it's my belief, and because there's no real scientific data saying, dude, deadlifting is going to make your fucking waist bigger. People that have wide waists or big stomachs, it's a lot to do with food, man. Yeah. Food and certain drug usage that are far supersede anything a lot, that I've ever done.
Just like Jeremy, I was also a firm believer in that
a lot of people are
and all that stuff would make your waist wider. So even for years, including I steered away because I was already known for that. So I'm like, well, fuck, I don't want to do shit that's going to make it wider. But I also came to terms it's my structure, like my mom's a wide individual. My dad's a wide individual. Even my brother has a pretty wide waist. Like it's just, this is my structure. So I'm not going to limit what is supposed to be what is in fear of having a wider waist. It is what it is at this point.
Jeremy, let me ask you a question. When they say wider waist, I don't, because getting more muscle on your waist or adductors or abductors or getting a bigger glutes, I think of wider waist as physically wide, like making your hips wider, and like
Yeah.
can you put on some muscle on your hips on certain areas? Yes, but I don't think deadlifts physically make your waist wider or look wider. Maybe you can put some muscle on certain areas.
I think what makes the hips wider is when people do like, you know, the weighted bended obliques and shit, and make that. To me, that's dumb. Like, why? You know, that you're
See,
purposely
and
making it
see, when
wider.
I was in college, I did that shit. Held a dumbbell, fucking every fucking day.
Yeah.
You know, and I might have a big waist, but I mean, maybe for some people it does. I always like doing the core lifts. You know, squat,
Doing
bench,
your core
deads.
compound movements, that's how you're gonna grow. You know, you're not gonna pack on the mass without doing the lifts like that. When I was
You were a bodybuilder, Jeremy. You had to train like that. You started out as a bodybuilder.
I know I was never big on compound movements though. Yeah, I started doing
Even in bodybuilding, you weren't.
no.
Oh, okay.
I knew very little. I was young. I was like 17 up to 20 years old. I was just lifting weights and training and getting on stage. I didn't ever look that good. So when I started making my way back this last time around in 2022, I really started growing again. I was implementing deadlifts, straight leg deads, heavy bent over rows. I was squatting heavy
Yeah.
again, you know, and that's when I was at my biggest and my thickest. You know, that's how I put everything back on. I'm even now that I've been kind of chilling since my injury, I'm a lot bigger than I was when I was chilling a few years ago. I've packed on.
I remember that.
You know, I
At the end of the day,
around,
the basics work. Period.
yeah.
It is what it is.
Everybody's overcomplicating things. They forgot about training intensity. That's the biggest thing, is being able to get after your workout and putting that intensity so you give it that extra effort.
Agreed.
You know, a lot of guys are going in there and just doing these very slow, methodical movements. I train like that too, but there's an intensity and a certain focus behind it.
Correct.
I'm not just going light and trying to train the muscle. I'm still pushing as much weight as I can, but the motion's a lot more controlled. But that's the biggest thing. I was talking to my dad about it, because my dad's 69 years old and he looks incredible still. And he just recovered from a back surgery 8 months ago. And he has abs again. And he's like, the reason why my dad is able to do that, because he has a certain intensity about himself. That's how he attacks life. That's how he attacks everything.
Yeah.
That's why he changes in the gym so rapidly, even at an old age. These old guys in the gym aren't training with that intensity or that fire. And that's when you're going to start seeing the results, because you're pushing yourself past your threshold when your mind is like that.
Yeah.
That's where you're going to changes.
I was in Texas this past week, which is why we didn't do that podcast. I took my dad turns 70 on September 21st. So I took him on a hunting trip. Like, we went out with Branch, went hog hunting. And you know, me and Branch were sitting there. My dad was on a machine working out, and you know, because when I train with Branch and kind of the way I train, and Nick has seen how I train pretty fast. Like, you go, I go, you go, I go, you go. Unless it's like a heavy squat or deadlift, like I'll take a little more time in between sets. But other than that, I like to move. And Branch was just fucking sitting like on the edge of the preacher curl, and he looked at me, he's like, man, I fucking miss this shit. And he's like, I just miss coming to the fucking gym and just go. He's like, but you know, but then there was the butt, and the butt is like my shoulder, my this, my that. It's like, as much as I want to go into the gym and do shit and fucking grab 315 or 405 or fucking, you know, throw 5 plates on and start squatting, like, I got so much bad shoulder, knee, 3 fucking herniations in my back. Like, that's why I started boxing. I'm like, I need something to do that I can do 100%, because working out, my 100% is nowhere near where my gauge of 100% should be for what I know. So I have to find something else, or I'm going to go fucking nuts.
Did you find your injuries in the beginning of your career or towards the end? Or is it something you dealt with, or did they get worse as you went?
I had that bad car accident that I almost died in 2011. That one fucked my back royally. But dude, I've had bad shoulders because I played football from 3rd grade all through college. So 15 years of fucking getting smacked didn't help. But dude, I tore my quad 3 fucking times since I retired. 3. I had never torn a muscle in my entire life. I retired. I tore my left quad once, my right quad twice, and I tore my fucking adductor like 3 months ago. It makes no sense. It's insane. And I don't know why.
You think it has anything to do with not training the way you train and not using the gear that you used to use in your recovery?
I definitely think that that's part of it.
So I just started yesterday taking BPC and TB. Like I know you work with, I think Transcend, right? Yeah, I work with Merrick. Like there's a lot of good clinics out there, but I started taking TB and BPC. I've tried it in the past, but I was one of those, like, I remember to take it, I forget to take it, I remember to take it, I forget to take it. I'm trying to be more consistent. So I started it yesterday. So, and I took my second one today. So I'm giving that stuff a try. But
It
do you
works.
want me?
I've been on it for 4.5 months since
Have you seen good results?
I mean, yeah, I mean, I ruptured my Achilles twice within a month. So, I mean, the damage that I did is awful, but you know, I'm back walking pretty normally again. It's only been 4 months since my surgery.
Nick,
That
did
was
you?
so when
Yeah,
I
was gonna
used
ask
it
you.
for my hamstring, and I think it helped tremendously,
I
without a
used
doubt.
the TB4 instead TB 500.
Okay,
I didn't even
okay.
use TB. I just used PPC 157, and that was it.
So now, Jeremy, is that something you're going to stay on long term, or you're just running it until you're
Oh, yeah.
100% back?
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably going to stay on it long term. There's no reason why I shouldn't, especially since I get it.
So what exactly happened that you did it twice? What was the first main, like, what exactly happened the first time, and then what happened again the second time?
The first time I was just taking off to run. I was standing still and I was kind of hopping up and down, getting ready to take off. And I took that first step and blew it out. And then I had surgery 2
Crazy.
week. I had a surgery the next week. And then 2 weeks after that, I took my daughter to the park. I was on my knee scooter and she took off towards the street. So I was going after her on the knee scooter. I hit a piece of bark and it tipped me over and I landed on my bad foot and just, dude, it exploded on me. My
Could
scar,
you?
Oh,
my scar after the first surgery is like this. My scar now is like this.
yeah.
My Achilles is like this thick right now. If you
From
grab
all
your
the
other one,
scar
it's like this.
tissue?
Huh?
From all the scar tissue?
Yeah, and it's still inflamed and swollen. And yeah.
That's one. And I'm not trying to fucking pee on your parade here, but that's I there was a Kent Majiri was the one of the starters for, he was a safety in college. He blew out his Achilles, and what happens is after that, the flexion, if you don't do the right stuff, your flexion won't be the same. And the way he ran and walked was different because one would flex and one would, so
I can barely get neutral right now. This one comes up and I'm
yeah.
just neutral.
Yeah, just stay. My point is stay on top of that recovery and that like process, because I've seen guys who have and they get back to maybe 95, 98%. The guys that don't, that Achilles becomes so stiff and calcified that their foot barely has any flexion. They almost walk like they have drop foot,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
But I'm gonna keep going back and forth because I have a bunch of questions for you both. Nick,
Well, yeah.
Samson. I thought what he did was
Amendable
cool,
or viable.
because we spoke about it on the podcast, and I said it on the podcast, obviously, and people probably expect me to say it, which I said, don't you think it's stupid that people don't even put you in the top 5? But
Yeah.
I think it's cool that somebody that you're competing against for the top spot gave you, not that he needed to, because you've already proven yourself, but he gave you he gave you your credit when he didn't have to. And that just goes to show what kind of person Samson is. I've always had the utmost respect for that guy. I thought that was really
people
cool.
I guess people don't really know, but like me and Samson behind the scenes, like we're friends. Like we're good friends. And I actually got emotional because at the Olympia at the meet and greet, he literally paused his entire line to walk over to me to give me a huge hug and to talk for like 10 minutes. And it's not many people do shit like that. Not that I want it or expect it, but like his line was pretty fucking hefty. And for him to just say, hold on, it just shows what kind of person he is. And I built a whole new respect for him for that.
I don't know why people think there's all this animosity, because like when I was competing, like Jeremy, I mean, you were friends with a lot of I was friends with a lot of the guys I was competing
Nah, man,
against.
Jeremy was in physique. They definitely hated each other.
Oh, that is true.
Each other.
It's different now, right? Now
it's all kumbaya with everybody.
Yeah, okay, you're right.
That's
yeah,
no
why?
fun.
That is weird. Why did you guys hate each other?
Why?
I remember that. There was always fucking the physique
because
war.
I was the champion and I like to talk a lot of shit and I like to start problems. That's who I was back then. I was the best, and I let everybody know it.
But let me ask, okay, honest question. Do you regret being that person?
No, I mean, I learned a lot
You
from it.
shouldn't.
So,
It's the
like
competitive nature.
I had to be a certain way to stay on top for 4 years.
Yeah.
Like I had to. I just took it too far in 2018 and let all my success get to my head. But no, I mean, I did outwork
You
everybody.
gotta be a savage.
I didn't. Yeah, I mean, I trained with the intention of taking everybody's head off at Olympia. That was my intention. Nobody was going to do anything. No one was going to diet harder than me. No one's going to do cardio harder than me. No one's going to outwork me in the gym. And that was just
But here's the thing. Here's my opinion on that. Like, obviously, you admitted you took it a little too far, which is probably you did. But I don't see a problem with that mentality, and I feel like that mentality is frowned upon a lot within this industry, because even I used to talk like, I mean, I still do, but I used to talk like that when I first got on the scene. I let everyone know I'm winning my New York Pro. I didn't give a shit.
It's just the world we live in nowadays, Nick. It's fucking soft.
You took that. I was waiting for him to stop because I was going to say that it's not bodybuilding. It's
guy. Even when you have this conversation, like, why would you go into a show and say, I just hope to be top 5?
I'll tell you, I used to say that all the time to the guys. Why are you here at Olympia if you don't want here to win? Get the fuck off our stage.
Exactly. Like, you mean to tell me you go through all this long 16, 20-week prep, however long you go
just to be happy to be there.
To be like, I'm going to be happy if I get.
Let me ask you a question. Who gets ready who gets ready for the Super Bowl hoping to lose?
Exactly.
Who?
I think the thing is, though, a lot of these guys don't have athletics in their background. They weren't athletes. They got into fitness because
we all grew up that way. So
you play football too?
Football, baseball, soccer, wrestling, all of it.
So I mean, that's why I grew up since I was a kid, being very competitive, and I feel like a lot of guys. I don't know how many, but I feel like a lot of guys find fitness and bodybuilding because they never had anything else. As far as a sport or something to pursue.
I know we've talked about this, and Jeremy, I'm sure we've had the conversation because I have this conversation with a lot of people throughout fucking the weeks, but I literally had it this morning. When I was growing up, and it sounds like I'm fucking 85 when I say that. There was Nintendo.
There's always one here, bro.
There was Nintendo. There was A, B, select, start, up, down, left, right. That was it, right? That was your joystick. That was the controller. And
up, down, left, right.
Yeah, it was up, down, left, right, select, start, A, B. That was it. That was all that was on the remote, right?
Yep.
Then it was Super Nintendo. Then it was fucking Nintendo 64. Then it was PlayStation. Then it was that. And then the remote starts getting bigger with more buttons. And now you get the headsets.
More complicated.
So my dad, back then, I'm like, Pop, play fucking Ninja Turtles with me. Dad, play, Duck Hunt. I don't know how to play that shit. I'm not playing that shit. That's too complicated. And I'd be like, that's too complicated. It's fucking up. It's like this and this. It's like now I look at those fucking games and I'm like, I wouldn't have a fucking clue what to do on any of those things.
It's funny you say that because so after the Olympia, my brother came back and stayed and he wanted to play video games and stuff. So I'm like, all right. I was like, I'm down. So we went and bought a PS5 and I haven't played video games in years, bro. I held this controller.
You were like, what the fuck?
I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
The only thing I have is
you got to play online now too. I mean, now you play against all these kids that are really, that's all they do. They're really good.
Oh my God, bro. I try to play Call of Duty online.
I used to like Call of Duty back in the day. Now it's no fun. It's no fun.
Like I would die, I would come back and then die again.
Yeah.
I can't even move.
Yeah, you can't even play the games anymore.
Dude,
it's headshots galore.
Isn't it crazy how many some people I truly think they get caught up in that that's reality.
It's it's a video game,
Bro.
But then I don't know what it's called, I forget, but you got kids that just set up a fucking camera and they thousands and thousands of dollars playing video games now.
Millions now.
Who's
millions? Yeah.
Can I ask you who? And I was going to say it, and I actually thought about it, and I'm like, well, I was gonna say, who actually sits there and watch somebody else play a game? But
Lots
I'm
of
like,
people.
well, but no, but then,
I mean,
but then
I
it's,
have. I won't bullshit. I have.
but what I was gonna say with the reason why I stopped, I was like, well, you sit down and watch people play football, and that's a game. So that's why
I mean,
cut
for
myself off.
fuck's sake, bro! I watch YouTube videos of people eating while I'm eating. For fuck's sake, like, you know what I mean? Like, come on.
But I would want to play the game, not watch somebody play it. That's.
I mean, I remember last year during prep, I was watching Jeremy's 5K hit that he did one day during his bulk, and I'm like, yo, how the fuck you eating all this food, bro?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never
So,
been like.
I do it. I'm not. I do. It is entertaining. For me
Really?
at least, it is entertaining. I'm not gonna lie.
What do you watch
Yeah.
them play? Is it like funny? Do they
oh,
like talk shit and make fun of each other? It's like that the funny
Oh
part?
yeah, they talk all kinds. I don't watch it for like what they're playing. I watch it for like more of what they say, and like they get mad as shit, and sometimes, and it's funny.
Maybe I should stream and just curse at everybody
Yeah,
and
you
see
would
how
Nah,
probably-
you
funny I
should
am.
start playing video games. You could probably make millions with how you act, bro.
Yeah, but I don't know. I wouldn't know what to fucking do. What,
But
PS4
nobody
or
would
Xbox?
care. They would just watch you for you, bro. Seriously.
So I have a Nintendo Switch, so I got it because Flex Lewis was like, "Oh, bro, go you get fucking Switch. We can play fucking Mario Kart." So I got Matt fucking Switch and Mario Kart. So it was like me, him, Rafa, Brendeo, like we would all play Mario Kart like against each other, and we would be on like a WhatsApp like video chat as we're playing, like as if we're next to each other and fucking cursing at each other. That was fun. And then that lasted like 6 months, and then it fucking never played again. That's the only system I
Yeah.
have is a Switch with Mario Kart. That's it. But I would get a PlayStation if you fucking actually utilized it and would play. Jeremy, do you have one?
I have mine's in Vegas. I have.
What's
I
the
have to go
newest?
get it.
Xbox One is that's newer than 360, right?
No, PlayStation 5.
I got the Xbox One. I think if that's the
Oh, you got
newest.
Xbox. I think Xbox
What?
One's the newest.
I don't
one,
play
yeah.
Xbox. I bought it during COVID to play Nazi zombies.
Madden?
The Nazi zombies.
Yeah.
Yo, I
I
get
just
my
played
ass
that game.
whooped on that, bro. They become they got like 1,000 coming at you hardcore.
I thought like, aren't there certain ones that are only for 64 or 64? Jesus Christ. Aren't there ones that are only for Xbox and ones that are only for PS4? Like, isn't Madden only for one of them, or am I
No,
wrong?
I think no, it was always for both. Back then, I do think there were select games that was for PlayStation and some that were for Xbox. I don't know how it works now. I would assume they don't do that anymore because from what I heard, you can actually play online if you have PlayStation and Xbox together. Somehow you can like connect the two and play.
So if you're gonna get if you had to pick one, which one would you get? PlayStation 5 or what, I guess the newest Xbox?
Yeah, since I have one, I think what's funny in my household growing up, I was the Xbox kid and my brother was the PlayStation kid.
But that was that had to be because of the
PlayStation.
games. I really do think there was I really do think there was a discrepancy in games back then.
There was. I said that.
Like,
yeah, but I'm trying to think of what game.
Well, like for me, for example, I had Xbox because I love to play Halo, and Halo was just for Xbox.
And now it's for both.
I don't keep up with the
times
okay. Now.
Jeremy, what did you say about it?
I don't know. I don't know much about games. Not anymore. I thought we were talking about N64. What games are different for N64? I played that last time. I played GoldenEye, Super Smash Brothers, Zelda,
NFL Blitz. NFL Blitz.
NFL Blitz was the shit.
You could tackle from 87.5 yards away.
Yeah.
Jump across the fucking field and tackle somebody.
The space I'm trying to get from my gym, the person left the arcade NFL Blitz in there. So if I get this, I'll have
the standing one.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask you, I didn't bring it up because I didn't know how far you talked about it. So I didn't want to go like saying anything. So you're going to enter the gym business.
Yeah. I'll find out next week if I get the space. I've been working on this for the past year, but my area has been really hard to find a space available. All the commercial space has been taken. And we finally landed.
Jeremy, what state do you live in?
I'm in California. I live outside of Sacramento.
Oh, okay.
Is Is it really hard? Because I know a lot of big corporations were like moving to places like Texas and stuff like that and moving out of California. Obviously, we're talking, there's many parts of California, but
Yeah,
is it
California's
more? So, but you're having problems finding commercial real estate out there, huh?
well, I live in an area, everybody from the Silicon Valley moves up to where I'm at. So everybody in the Bay Area is coming here because it's more affordable and it's an up and coming area. I've been here, I grew up in this city, so it was like nothing was here when I first grew up, and now it's just exploded. So everything's getting
What
more expensive up here.
is there more than one meaning for why they call it Silicon Valley?
I don't know. I don't know.
Like I've heard so many different things of why it's
It's a cool
called Silicon
name.
Valley. Somebody
Yeah.
said it's because there's so many people that have plastic surgery and fake fucking tits and ass out there. And I'm like, that's
I'm gonna say
that-
why, because fake tits?
I'm like, that doesn't that sounds
I
like
don't think that's the reason.
okay, because that somebody said that and I was like, I don't fucking
I don't think
really
so.
That
know.
would be pretty
The
dumb.
tech area, like Google's there, like everything's there. Yeah,
Wasn't
really?
what,
Google?
who?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I think at the Google, they're
No, because wasn't Google right across from the Gold's Venice? Because didn't they own that building?
yeah, but dude, no, that's just
No?
that's like probably maybe a sub that place, a little office.
No, I
Like,
thought like headquarters was like not far from there is what I was saying. I thought they owned
the
that building
Google
and like
campus is like 100. I don't know. It's like I don't know how it's huge. It's massive. Like
probably a
beyond-
couple 100,000 fucking square
it's,
feet.
it's huge. Like beyond that, it takes up like a whole like three. I don't know. It's huge.
So you say Cali sucks. Why are you still there? Why aren't you like Nick? Nick's like a
Families here.
nomad.
Families here. I know this area. As far as the gym, we were thinking about moving, but like I said, my wife's family's here, my parents are here, we got a bunch of cousins,
Family stuff.
and
How's the school system out there?
I'm not putting my daughter, we're looking at private Christian schools, so I'm not putting her in public school.
Yeah,
It's
good.
probably, I mean, I mean, I know people
That's
that are
probably smart.
yeah, I know people that are teachers that have said that have little kids that aren't old enough to be in high school yet, have said, when my kid is old enough, if the school districts are still the way they are, my kid is getting homeschooled.
Yeah, my brother
It's-
is in
Isn't that
Texas,
crazy?
so homeschools his kids out there. You just can't trust it anymore, man.
Isn't that sad that
Agreed.
that's the fucking
Very
place that
sad.
we live in?
Dude,
It's
they
it's
just passed a bill here in California. They're giving $150,000 to illegal immigrants to buy a house, but yet they aren't giving us 150 grand to buy a house, and we're all going to pay for that. So it's everything's expensive around here. Our interest rates are through the roof. Like food is outrageous.
It almost seems like this is like almost like a store, like we're in a fucking movie.
yeah.
Because some of the things that happen are so
if your
ridiculous.
family isn't bringing in like $10,000 to $15,000 a month, you're not surviving out here.
That's crazy. Dude, remember when like Jeremy, you're how old?
I'll be 34 next month.
Okay, so I'm 8 years older and I'm 12 years older than Nick. So I mean closer to you, but bro, back when like when I started growing up, you could survive off of 60. Yeah, I mean fuck, you could survive off 50 grand a year.
Easy. Yeah.
Easy. Now, if you're not making at least six figures, you're fucked.
Big time.
Between rent, car, fucking heat, hot water, electric, cell phone, gas, like it's crazy. It's almost like they're trying to like have that like even keel across the board and keep everybody
trying to get rid
like
of the,
socialism.
trying to get rid of the middle class.
Yeah, like
That's
socialism.
exactly what we're facing right now.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys want to dive into that.
I don't give a shit.
I can talk all day
Me
long.
and Nick talk about everything.
Like that's exactly where we're heading right now, with this election. If we don't make the right choice, they're going to eradicate the middle class. We're not going to be able to do shit. We're going to end up going broke out here because they're raising the price on everything. Inflation's going up. Interest rates are going up. My plan 2 years ago was to buy a house this year. That's not happening right now because of how expensive everything's got. I got to have like $300,000 to put down on a house.
Well, listen, I live in an area
when I'm trying to open a gym and I'm trying to get, do all these things for my family. Like I got to have like $1 million in my bank account in order to do everything I need to do.
It's insane, dude.
It's crazy.
Listen, if you want to have a short attractive Italian neighbor. There's a couple houses for sale on my street.
Yeah, like I said, my family is out here, and it's important for me to have
Of course.
my nieces and nephews around growing up, and we're about to have our boy, but this coming month, and it just helps out a lot when you got family around, especially me opening the gym this
100%.
year. I'm going to be at the gym probably 14 to 16 hours a day to get that thing up and running.
Yeah.
What was the hardest thing about being at the top of the sport that you think a lot of people don't really understand or see?
How lonely it is at the top. Phil Heath, I mean, when I won my first one, he's like, enjoy the ride, it's lonely at the top. I was like, oh, okay. It is, people take advantage of you, they want to be around you because of that, not because of you. You have a target on your head at all times, you're under a microscope. I couldn't take a shit without somebody fucking talking about it. And it adds a lot of pressure to everything. Even now I still gotta be careful of what I do, because not that I'm doing anything wrong, but it's easy to find me. I'm all, I have almost 4 million followers. If I'm out, if I do anything wrong, it's going to be, people can know who I am.
Yeah.
When I was competing, I was the guy to beat. So people, alienated themselves from me, or I alienated myself from them. A little bit of both, but that's also the way I approached competition. Like, I didn't want to be friends with those guys. It made it
easier.
I trained harder when I hated them than if I'm buddy with them.
So in your way, that was almost like, I don't want to say a tactic, but a way to be better.
I just approached it like I was getting ready for a fight.
Yeah. I mean, and you can't
I see nothing wrong with it.
I don't. I really don't.
I don't hate anyone, but like when I'm in the gym,
strong word. I didn't say. I just yeah.
Well, yeah, I get what you're saying, but that's how I look at it. Like, I'm here to beat all of you. When we're on stage, we're not friends. We will never be friends on stage. Like, that's just what it is. Afterwards, yeah, sure, we're friends, but in that moment, I don't care,
Yeah.
And that's why I get annoyed by it, because like we said earlier, I just feel like that type of mentality, people frown upon it so bad, and it's like, what do you want me to play nicey nice? Like, oh,
When you're a competitor,
no,
like being a true competitor, it's in the moment of competition, you're not supposed to be nice. You're supposed to fucking win. Like you're focused on winning. And I'm not saying winning at all costs and like being dirty, but like, dude, I remember Kenny Wallach once, he pulled me aside after I walked out for my individual at the Olympia. And he's like, bro, come over. And I'm like, what's up? He's like, dude, stop looking like you're fucking going to war with these guys. It's bodybuilding. And I like you, when you have that competitive edge inside you, like I only knew how to be like dead focused. Like, let's fucking like, even though it's as stupid as posing, but up here, it's like life. No, but what I was going to say, it's just posing, but up here, it's like life or death. I know, but
because it's like it's not just bodybuilding. Like, this is our sport.
Yes,
this is what we're competing in. This is what we're fighting for. It's more than it's just bodybuilding.
Yeah, because it's like you see the Super Bowl, but you don't see. But if you didn't see the 20 games that were played to get to the Super Bowl, you don't know how hard it was. They don't know 16 weeks, day in and day out, to get to one show where anything could happen. You could eat the wrong thing, take an ounce of the wrong diuretic, fucking wake up on the wrong side. Any variable could happen. And that, I think, is very, like, people don't realize what it takes to get to that point. And it's to say, oh, but when people say body, and I know this is gonna fucking make people fucking blow up in the comments. Coming from a guy that played football, basketball, baseball, track, and people say that bodybuilding is not a sport. I solely disagree. Now, you guys might disagree or agree. I think bodybuilding is it's an individual sport, and it's probably one of the hardest.
Agreed.
I'm writing up a course right now on what it takes to be a bodybuilder. And I've literally right before this, And I was touching on all those points in my intro, just how it's not like baseball or basketball when you can go and work, train, you play for 2 or 3 hours during your day, and then you're off the rest of the day. Bodybuilding is 24/7, and you train those, hour cardio in the morning, 2 hours in the gym, and then you have to be accountable every 2 to 3 hours for your meals after that.
Yep.
On top of all
Yep.
the therapy and stretching, mobility work, it's an all-day job. Your mind is wrapped around it all day long, week after week, month after month leading up. And that's why when you start a prep, you got to wake up and you got to commit to it. You turn it on.
Yes. Yep.
And you just make an agreement with yourself. It's not, this is how it's going to be the next 4 months. Just get that through your head. And that's what it is.
It's almost like if you take every sport that we know, and if you incorporated daily having diet restrictions and just add that into whatever it is, it could even just be golf. You take somebody that golfs and eats whatever the fuck they want, and then take somebody that golfs and puts diet restrictions on them, that alone makes it substantially harder. So we're trying to have maximum output, and sometimes with minimum gas and oil.
Yep.
So it's like trying to make your car go as fast as possible with the bare minimum in it. And it's like, how do we get that ratio up here as high as we can? And that's what I don't think people see. So when people say it's not, I take that solely disrespectful when people go, well, bodybuilding is not a sport. And I'm like, well, how about this? You do it for 16 weeks, honestly, and then report back and let me know how that.
Same thing with people saying, oh, if I took steroids, I could be a bodybuilder.
Yeah, right.
Right, you can't.
Exactly.
Not even close.
Jeremy, how much when you stopped competing and you took those couple of year hiatus, and obviously you lost size, as did I. Do you think it was more drug or more food? Because I'm asking because like Nick busts my balls constantly, and like somebody made a comment, they're like, guy looks like my 20-year-old son who looks like 160 pounds, because I'm 180 now. But people don't realize that even now I can eat and I can get up to 195 pounds in a week if I just add in, like, I don't do any carbs, I keep everything pretty low. But I don't think people realize how important food is, and I think that it's overlooked by drugs. I really do.
Yeah,
And I don't think I look good by any means. People go, oh, but you're lean. I don't like how I look.
I've been off for 6 weeks right now, and I've been maintaining my size. And honestly, I'm not even eating the best right now. I'm just eating more. And I mean, I'm not trying to be shredded.
Yeah.
Back then, when I got all the way down to 165, like I say 190 right now. Yeah, holding 190 off. And back then, I was probably eating 2 or 3 meals, but I was also like drinking 3 or 4 times a week with my buddies and not training. And that's when it all started falling apart. If you're staying consistent in the gym and training, getting food in you, you're going to hold a lot of size.
Yeah.
In my opinion, that's the reality of it. But that's when people come off in their off season, they kind of let themselves go like I did. The drinking will kill you too. The drinking that's going to just destroy everything. There's no way you're going to grow up drinking.
Yeah.
That's something that I've realized, and that's why I don't really drink hardly ever.
Were you doing it socially, or was it becoming like
no, it wasn't. It was
like
never
a bad habit.
It was never a habit or an issue.
Okay.
Just socially, during COVID, me and my buddy and my now wife were all living together, and we had a big ass house in Huntington Beach, and we partied hard for like 2 or 3 months.
Bro, during COVID, I mean, what else was there to fucking do, bro? It's like if you were gonna fucking party and do dumb shit. That's why I
lost so much weight.
During COVID was the perfect time to do it.
My breakfast was a freaking Bloody Mary followed by some Corona and some White Claws. Throw a little mushrooms in there too.
Did you guys have access to gyms during COVID?
I did, yeah.
Nick,
I just wasn't going.
Yes.
Are you allowed to say where you're going or no? No, nobody's gonna get in trouble now. Who gives a fuck?
No,
where were you
I
training?
Was training at I was training at Attila's.
Really? Which one?
The one that went through all the shit.
Okay. Yeah. Oh yes. Where were you training?
So he let me train there low key from when I was in prep for North Americans.
Oh really?
And then he came up to me one day and was like, bro, I'm gonna open the gym. And I'm
That's
like,
to do with the big beard, right?
No. The other owner.
Chris.
And I was just like, no, not Chris. This is a different. This Attilis is separate. The owner of that Attilis hates. They don't like each other. But
that's what I thought.
He was like, I'm gonna open the gym, and I'm like, no, please don't do that. Like,
Because you got shut down in a second.
Yeah, you're gonna fucking ruin. Like no. So he did it, and I mean, yeah, I give him his props. Like he went through all that shit, but I think what turned me off the most was, he fought a good battle, I guess. But like when it was all done, he just kind of kept going, and it's like, bro, it's done.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing at this point?
Yeah.
I was very
that's
thankful
Ian.
that he allowed me to do that in prep, though, because that prep, honestly, the beginning of it, we were all on shaky grounds because I didn't even know if I was going to compete at that point.
No, everybody. Oh, look who it is.
Oh, hello.
Hi. She's like, who are you? Hi, honey.
Say hi. Okay, no, go back.
No,
I'm gonna finish my call, okay?
Daddy drank all my water.
Why'd you drink her water for, Auntie? Go. She got kicked out of childcare because the teacher is a young dude, it pissed her off, so she threw a block at him today. I was at the gym and I got a phone call like, can you come pick up your daughter?
She threw a block.
I was like, why? She goes, because he's dumb. I'm like, oh, he is kind of a douchebag.
Hey, here it is.
Dude, kids do funny things, man.
Oh, the guy told me that the block hit him in the head. So that's what I thought. And then we called the head of the childcare. She looked at the camera footage. She didn't even throw it at him. The kid made it up. So I can't wait to see him at the gym tomorrow.
Are you serious?
Yeah, freaking liar. Made me get upset with his daughter for him lying to me. So I'm gonna have to kindly talk to him tomorrow.
Did you have? I've seen
Yeah.
pictures of your pop. He's ripped. Did you have? And Nick, you too. I know your dad and your parents obviously well, but I don't know them from back in the day. Did you guys have like strict parents? Like, did you ever get in trouble? Like, there were times where I shit in my pants. I thought my dad was going to kill me or my brother. Like bad.
Yeah, my dad was very intense.
Yeah.
I had to get straight A's. I had to be the best on the team. I'd be the captain on the team. I couldn't miss a tackle in practice. I had to get, like I said, straight A's. I brought home a B+ one time. It was right before homecoming, my sophomore year or junior year. And my girlfriend came over with her mom, and my dad opened up the progress report. He was like, a B+? It's like, yeah. He's like, that means you could have done better. I don't think you should go to homecoming. And my date was there in her dress. Her mom was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. He's taking my daughter to homecoming.
You didn't go?
No, I did. My mom talked him into it, and her mom talked him into it. But that's just kind of how I grew up.
Nick, what about Pop?
Well, you see, being the second child,
Oh, you got off easy, you fuck.
they let me slide to a lot of shit, and I think out of me and my brother as well, I was more of the rebel child. I was like my mother, so like they would try to discipline me, and I'd be like, nah, I'm good. So I don't want to say they like gave up. They were just like, Nick's gonna do whatever the fuck he wants regardless. So it is what it is.
There was growing up, there was two times where I was like very scared. So my brother in like, I want to say like third or fourth grade was going to his buddy's house. And like, when you're a kid and you think you're slick, but when you look back, you're like, I wasn't fucking slick at all.
Ah,
My
they know
brother-
the whole time.
Yes. Like now watching my nieces and nephews do dumb shit. And I'm like, they think I don't know. They're like in the basement, or they think I can't hear them, or like, I'm like, you guys are really dumb. Right. But they're just kids. And like, I was there. I was in their shoes thinking my parents didn't know I was doing this. And now I'm like, you're an idiot. But, so watching, I don't know, where the fuck was I going with this?
I don't know.
What were we talking about? Trying to make a point. This is what happens with my fucking. This is why the doctor checked me for the CTE.
Kids thinking they're sneaky and they're not.
Oh, I was telling the story about my brother. So my brother, that happened. So what just happened happens to me all the time. So my brother put beer in a bag, right? And he thought he was going to sneak it to his friend's house for a sleepover. And my dad fucking caught him with the beer in the bag, obviously. So my dude, Jeremy, my dad goes off and fucking drags my brother into the garage. And my parents have a 2-car garage, but it's where we butcher the deer. So it's a big butchering state. It's got a hopper where you grind the meat, and it's got butchering tables, and it's got wrappers, it's got freezers. Dude, my dad put my fucking and I'm watching through the door because I'm like, he's gonna kill my brother. So I'm like peeking through the door watching, and he puts my brother's fucking hand on the butcher block and takes the fucking cleaver out and fucking cranks back and throws that cleaver and right down and missed his hand by that much. And my dad goes, "You ever fucking steal anything out of this house again, the next time I won't fucking miss." I was like,
Yeah, I would have shit myself on that one.
And then the only other time I was in like a junior or I think it was a junior in high school, me and my sister at one point shared a car. And I wanted the car to go to my girlfriend's, and she wanted the fucking car to probably go to her boyfriend's. So we were arguing about it. And you know, if you have a sister, which Jeremy, do you have a sister?
No.
Typical girl, you get in an argument, what do to get their way? They cry. They want to win an argument, they cry. That's what girls do. They just cry. So my sister was arguing with me, starts crying. So obviously I get in trouble. So my dad got in my face and I pulled like one of these, like when he was in my face talking to me, I did one of these, like raise my chest to him. He fucking went right in my fucking chest and just just crippled me and then threw me right through my fucking bedroom door. And he goes, "Don't you ever fucking puff your chest out of me again." That was the last time I got fucking smacked around.
So
But
yeah, that's why I'm afraid. I'm not. I mean, I'm having a son. I'm afraid of him growing up because nowadays you can't do shit like that. So it's like, how are you? I got my ass kicked as a kid growing up, and that's what taught you a lesson. That's what kept you in check.
what do you think is going to be harder, raising a son or a daughter?
I'm more afraid of her growing up because I don't, she's a girl.
Is it,
Yeah.
are you afraid of her growing up because you don't know, like you're a man and you know like how like a boy and like what to do in like certain situations, and there's just things that you'll never know.
She's never having a sleepover at anybody's house. She's gonna sleep at this house every single night until she leaves for college or whatever she's doing. Not gonna happen. I know what I was doing at 14 years old, man. Like
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
it's not gonna fucking happen on my watch. That's why I've been, I'm been a little more disciplinary with her recently because she's so smart for 3.5 years old. She knows what the fuck she's doing. She's very intelligent, and she's been a little brat lately. And I've been having to nip it in the butt because when the other baby gets here, I know it's going to get worse. And if I don't get it, if she doesn't respect you now, it's just going to get worse as she gets older. And that's my biggest fear. When she's a teenager, doesn't have respect for me.
Yeah.
If she doesn't respect me or listen to me and follow my instructions, it's going to be really hard. And what do? You can't.
I think we all have that time though, like as a kid, where we have like that "fuck you, mom and dad" phase, where like we don't want to listen, like that rebellious. Like I think that's always part of growing up, right? Like I think and it's like gonna happen no matter what, in some way, whether you see her in other ways.
It's a dreaded day for me.
Yeah.
So
Nick, what about you? We I don't think we've ever talked about like kid. Like, did you ever have aspirations of having kids?
I don't know, man. I'll be honest.
Well, here, two-part question. If the world wasn't so crazy and go back 20 years of the way the world was and then answer that question right now.
Possibly, but at the same time, I'm in no rush for it. I'm also just working on building my career and taking it as far as I can. And I just don't have a kid in vision with that.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's what I was asking. I'm not talking about right now. I'm talking about like, when you're 40, retiring or whatever, like, do you plan, like you see?
I feel at that point for me being 40, it's just late,
Nick's like he's on his way up still to the peak of his career. It's if he gets married and has a kid, it's gonna make things a lot more difficult to do the things you need to do, the traveling, everything, leaving your kid.
Well, let me ask you a question, Jeremy. Do you think you would have been able to be at the top having a kid when back then?
I would have. Oh, back then?
Would you? If you had a kid back then, do you think you would have still been able to have the success and do what you did then with a kid?
No, I can't even imagine myself with a kid back then. I would have been a terrible father.
Yeah.
So
well, because you wouldn't have been around as much because of all
that and just my maturity in my 20s, I mean, having a kid, you have to have, it takes everything away from yourself, man. Like I'm not first in my life anymore the way I
Yeah.
was before. Everything I
Yeah,
do,
but I think if you got a kid in your 20s, I think you're that type of guy that would have always put
yeah, I
that
mean,
first.
probably, but I don't, at the same time, I don't know because I was a different person back then and my thought processes are completely different now. My priorities
Yeah.
are different. You know, I would have probably been selfish and chased my career at the time and probably would have not been the father that I should have been if that was the
Yeah.
case because I was living this high life and nothing was more important to me at the time than that. You know, it was pretty obvious.
See, when it comes when people ask me about kids, they're like, "Oh, you're still young enough," and I'm like, "I got my back kills me, my shoulders hurt. Like, I don't want to be the father that can't even throw a fucking ball with his kid.
Yeah.
Like, to me, that's
Right.
not being a father. That's like you're a deadbeat at that point.
Yeah.
So, like, and I'm 42. I told myself, like, I still think I would love to have kids. So I told myself I got until 45. Once I'm 45, that's my cutoff. Like I will not, I don't care who it is. Like I do not want to have a kid past 45. I'm 42. I still think that's a little fucking pushing the limit late, you know, but if I can, great. If I can't, I've always wanted kids, man. I fucking always wanted a couple kids. Like I love children. Love it.
Gotta have the
You
right
know?
woman, man, because that makes all
Yeah.
the difference. There's so many shitty moms out there, and my wife is
Yeah.
a really good mother. She's always, she's a stay-at-home mom, but it's important because doing this shit alone, like it's. I have a buddy that just, recently divorced his wife, and watching him handle his two kids that are, both 3 and 2 years old. It's a lot of work, and even when I'm
Yeah.
just taking care of my daughter, my wife goes and hangs out with her friend or whatever for the day. It's exhausting. There's no way of juggling work and having a kid with what I do. I mean, I can't be on a phone call because I got her running in like this. I had to call my sister-in-law to come over here and to play with her while I'm doing this because my wife is at the
Oh,
doctor.
really?
Yeah. Because she would be in here yelling and screaming and getting shit. Like we wouldn't be able to have a
Yeah.
conversation because she'd be climbing all over me.
Do you think the statement is true? There's not bad kids, it's only bad parents.
Yeah.
Is that true? I don't have, so do you think that statement rings true?
Yes. Yes, because they're at this age, you're the one shaping and molding them. If you allow them act up, that's your fault because you need to be disciplining your kid in the first place. Kids are going to act up at this age. They don't know right from wrong. They're still learning, how to handle their emotions. But that's why it's our job to sculpt and mold them right now, so they do learn how to handle those emotions and act right and not blow up. And I think that's where parents get too soft. They don't know how to discipline their kids. They give them chance after chance after chance after chance, but they don't follow through the consequences.
Yeah.
Then they don't take you seriously. And then
Yeah.
that's going to get worse as you get older. That's why you got to nip it in the bud at a young age. And they got to learn that respect
Right.
so they can grow up.
I
that way.
agree.
So obviously, so were you kind of a problem child, Nick? I was gonna ask you, were you more of like a good boy, like didn't get in trouble because you were the second child, or were you kind of like a misfit? Did you get in like trouble and like detentions and
I didn't get in, like, I was definitely the rebel out of me and my brother, but like I didn't get in like bad trouble. I mean, I did dumb shit, I have fights here and there and all that, but like nothing that was insane.
so you're the baby, and Jeremy, you're in your
I'm
family
second child too.
second. So see, I was the middle. I got
You got no love, bro.
no, and I was the fucking uh-oh. I didn't find that out till about 5 years ago. I was at a family dinner. And
You just found out you're
I
not.
just found that out because we were talking because my brother is 5 years younger than me. And I was like, yeah, well, Anthony was the fucking mistake. And my mom goes, I go, what do you mean? He goes, your brother was planned. She goes, you were kind of the uh-oh. I was like, oh, makes all the sense in the fucking world now. You guys didn't even want me to begin with. Fucking.
You were the surprise. That's what
Yeah, it was, yeah,
my daughter was a surprise.
really?
My son, we were working on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, did you guys, was it in vitro? Did you guys IVF? No. Oh, that's awesome. That's
It
great.
works, bro.
Well, no, sometimes people, no, sometimes I know it worked. I wasn't saying it didn't work, but a lot of times I've heard the second child, a lot of people, it's harder the second time.
I didn't have any issue. I ran the same, fertility protocol I ran the first time, and it
Was
worked.
it a hard protocol to run?
Oh, I ran
No?
1,000 IUs of HCG every day, and I did 25 milligrams of clomiphene.
That's it.
Blasted that every single day for like 3 weeks, both times, and it worked.
Wow.
My buddy at the gym ran the same protocol, got his wife pregnant in 2 weeks.
I know a protocol to not do until I want to do something.
Yeah, right.
If you being a champion at the top of the sport, give Nick the best piece of advice somebody gave you, and what's the best piece of advice you could personally give Nick being at the top right now, being 30 and still probably, have another, I would say, 8, 7 to 10 years left.
Keep training like you never won shit. That's the biggest thing. Keep your mentality like that, because if you start getting too cocky and too confident with yourself, you're gonna sleep on some competitors, and you're gonna see yourself falling behind in your efforts because you think you're already there. That's the thing, is it doesn't matter how many Olympias you get, there's always somebody chasing you that has that fire that you had when you're on your way up. It's keeping that fire at the top that is going to be your biggest struggle.
And
I agree with that.
so is that your piece of information, or is that something somebody gave you?
That's what I've experienced, but I mean, a lot of it, me and Phil were, we both were working with Hani. So, I was there in that room nights before, Olympia, we all sitting around together, and, Phil has a lot of philosophical things he'd like to put out there too. He's a very intelligent man, and he's given me a lot of advice over the years. And, that was something that he told me, and he was right. After my 4th win, I tore my pec, and then I ended up coming back that year, but it's just, I got a little too ahead of myself. I slept on some of these guys. And when Brandon showed up, Hendrickson showed up in 2018, we took off his shirt backstage. I was like, fuck, there goes my 5th title.
Yeah.
I knew right when.
Oh, so you knew.
Oh, I knew.
Yeah.
I was off that day too. I peaked the day before. I remember going to Hani's room on Friday looking sick. He goes, fuck. I go, what? He goes, we peaked today. Now we got to hold this for 24 hours. He goes, what the fuck did you do yesterday? I'm like, I ate too much granola. So
that happened to me one time. I fucking peaked my first Olympia, actually too early. But I don't know if I've heard it, because a lot of times when I hear a one-liner and I remember where I heard it from, I'll quote or say where it's from. I don't remember who said this or if I said it, but I think I heard somewhere that being getting to the top is the easy part. Having the stamina to stay there is what differentiates it. Somebody that wins it once to somebody that consistently fucking wins it. And you talking about Phil, Jeremy, and Phil actually gave me a piece of advice. In 2013, I was at it was a show in North Carolina, and my coach was like, "I want you to take a Viagra and a Cialis the morning of the show," and I was like, "Viagra and a Cialis? Like, why am I taking both?" So I don't even know why. Maybe Phil texted me good luck or something. So I called him and I was like, "Hey man," I said, "Can I ask you a question?" He's like, "Yeah, what's up?" I said, "My coach is telling me to do this." And I go, "I've never, I don't take this stuff to begin with. So is it smart to take both of them?" And he goes, "I've never done that. And I've never heard of somebody taking both." And he goes, "Can I give you a piece of advice?" And I've said this on many podcasts. And I was like, "Yeah, what's up?" Something that can make you potentially 2% better or 10% worse is never something you should do. And I was like,
that does all the time.
That's a fucking really good quote.
Yeah.
Because if you sit back and think about all the little things, like Nick, think about all the little tweaks we make and all the guessings we do sometimes just in bodybuilding. I'm not saying you, but just in general. Think about how some of those things we can either do or not do. And some of them in your head, you can go, well, I know if I don't do that, it's not going to make that big of a difference. But if I do it, it could go really bad. And how many times do we fucking we'll take the blue pill instead of the red one.
Yep.
So,
that's why I feel like a lot of guys look on point the days leading up, and then I need to get a little bit drier. So they start pulling their water, then flat.
That's, you know what?
Do you
I want to hear
how much water do you drink?
No. Wait. Hold that question. What do you guys think the variable is that people screw up the most towards the end, or towards the end of a prep? Is it water?
Water,
salt,
diuretic, and
diuretic, or
sodium.
food. No, no. Pick if you had to pick
I think it's
one.
all of it.
It can't be.
Water.
I'm asking.
Water.
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 What do you think, Jeremy?
Probably water. I mean, unless they're messing with diuretics, then that messes up even worse. But probably water. I've seen
Meaning taking it out and not keeping
taking
it in.
it out too soon. Yeah, or not getting in shape, not getting in the true best shape. They come in there. Oh, I'm just going to pull this last bit off because it's water, and it's not water.
So Nick, when you say
Yeah,
water,
yeah.
you say pulling water.
Pulling, yeah, I think some people pull too much too soon. See, I've learned with me, I have to pull a wild water to get super, super dry. Because I can easily get filled, very easily. But like, for example, like Thursday, the day before the show, I'll drink like
You normally
4
7
ounces
liters
of-
a day. Normally
right now, yeah, right
seven.
now.
Yeah, 7 liters.
The day before the show, I'll do like 4 ounces at a meal, and then maybe like 5 in between, and then that'll just kind of teeter down as the day goes.
Yeah.
Like by the
Yeah.
time I go to bed, it's like a couple sips, not even like an ounce. So like a
Are you
sip.
tapering your water down, or are you going from 7 liters straight to that little bit?
Oh no, we taper down. So like in the beginning of the week, let's say we'll start.
Do you
We'll just
increase
say
it?
Tuesday, huh?
Do you increase it first before you go down?
No, we've never done that, and
Okay. No, you don't have. I was just asking.
But like, let's just say Tuesday we're at 7. Wednesday we'll just. This isn't how it goes, but this is an example. Tuesday he may take it, or Wednesday he'll take it to 5, and then the following day he'll take it down like another 2, and then just kind of really totter it down little by little by little. But at that point, I'll be honest, then I'll keep like real track, because like, yes, I'm drinking 7 liters of water a day, but like I'm also not counting like the one where I drink water I'm drinking with my intra shake, or the water I drink with my morning drink, or the drink that I have with the stuff I mix before I go to bed. So when he is like, really, okay, now we're gonna keep like real track, then it becomes a full 7 liters, because now I just subtract from everything at this point, and then we start to really, totter it down from there.
What did you do something similar like that, Jeremy, or were you different? Because I've had where my coach has been like, drink a half gallon today, but gave me no parameters. And I've had like a Cito who's been like there was one time on Tuesday or Wednesday before the show. He's like, all right, starting today, 8 ounces with a meal. That's all you get. Like
No,
nothing in between, 8 ounces.
I mean, I did it with Hani. We tapered my water down when I was prepping back then, but this Olympia prep, I did 6 to 7 liters, 6 to 8 liters every day up until 2 days out, and I went down to like a gallon. I had a gallon of water the night before the show.
Yeah, and I think it's better but I also think it's better to tread lightly, because once you
Yes.
put it in, you can't pull it out. Like
Correct.
once you swallow that diuretic, you can't throw it back up. Once you drink that water, you can't puke it back up. So if you do it slow, you can adjust accordingly as you go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, well, we covered a lot of.
Maybe it was a half gallon before. I don't recall how it was, but
There were shows where I drank bare minimum the day before and the day of, and then there were shows Chris was like, "Don't change, do exactly what you did yesterday." I was like, "Are you sure about that?" He's like, "Yeah, you're fine." It's show to show is going to always be different, and I think Nick, you probably do it kind of the same each show, but I think each show there's probably a little more or a little less of certain like salt,
for sure.
water, this
I mean,
or that,
But at that point, I mean, Matt's very big on, obviously, I'm sure Hani was too. It's meal to meal, whatever
Yeah.
we do. Like we'll eat a meal, hour and a half later, we're posed, and then he dictates what the next is going to be, and then it's just a repeating process the entire time.
So this is gonna be. I'll end with this question, because this is something that I've actually don't know and never really ask anybody. I was always an advocate, okay, of tracking what I did, right? So I would always have one of these. It was black, these marble composition books, and I would write my meals, my supplements I took. I would have in the back. It would have my cycles in it. What I took, what shots I took on the day I took it. If I was, towards the end when we were taking Halo, Anavar, blah, blah, I would always put like this meal, I had these vitamins and I took these subs and I ate it this time, because there were days where like you're just taking sups and this, and like I couldn't keep track. It was like I'm like, and if I wrote it down, I was much more organized. So do you guys have something that you track when you were dieting? So because I didn't do it in the off season because my off season was less gear and I just got to eat. So I didn't track my shit in the off season. But the day one of prep, that book got started again, and I kept track of everything because if I didn't, like, well, if I took 10 nugs of Anavar instead of 20, did I take 2 in the morning or did I do my shot yet? Did I add? Was it with Trent or was it Ted? So do you guys track anything or you just, oh, I remember it?
I never did.
Like
never
not
tried.
training?
Like with your food and your subs and like you write everything down and
No,
have
I
it
mean,
like so you can see
the
it.
thing with that is I personally don't write it down and track it, but like me and Matt have like this whole texting through WhatsApp. So like I literally have everything from every single year still. So if I ever want to
Yeah.
go back and look, it has the date of everything that was changed, the diet and this and that. So no, I don't have it written down, but I have everything from almost every prep.
Yeah. See, I just remember Dorian. Remember seeing those like those magazines with Dorian, and you would see like the picture of like what he ate and like the cycle, or
Yeah.
like Milos's little pictures of it. So I
Yep.
was always infatuated that these guys kept those notes, and I was like, if I keep my notes like this, there might come a time where like people will find this valuable, and people will be like, hey, let me buy your fucking prep book.
Turn
And
those into an ebook and sell them.
yeah, so I was doing ebooks for ebooks, bro.
Yeah. No, I wish I would have documented my prep. Yeah. Just because every prep was a little bit different.
Exactly. And then you can check back and see, well, did I take what diuretics, how much fluid, how much salt. So that was, and when I went to a show, whatever show I did previous, I would have that notebook. So like the Olympia and in 2000, let's say 16, I would bring the Olympia 2015 book and the book from the last show that I did that year and have it there. So if Chris had a question, I would literally take the book and go, here, it's all there. Just open it up.
You're a good client.
Damn right.
You got to make it easy for your coach. If you make it hard for your coach,
Hani would write my diet that day on a napkin and give it to me in the morning.
That's fucking hilarious. Dude, Chris used to have the Manila. Chris stayed at, we would always, the athletes would pay for Chris's room. So Chris would always be like very close to my room. So the one year I remember he had like the room for an extra 2 days. And I told my buddy, I'm like, dude, just go stay in that fucking room. Chris said, if you want it, stay in it. So we went into Chris gave me his room card or his room key card. We went to the room. He had all the diets. It was Big Ramy, Guy, Jose, Eduardo Correa, Derek Farnsworth, and it was thrown in the fucking garbage in the bathroom in just manila folders, just scribbled, just everything in like just sheets of paper just written on of all the diets. I was like, this is how this guy does this. He's a really pen and paper guy. Like dead sea, like no computer shit, like all in fucking all like old school fucking teachers do with their little notepads and fucking folders. I was like, man, this guy fucking just, and I asked him, I said, why do you throw it all out at the end? And he goes, because it doesn't matter. I go, what do you mean? He goes, because next year it's going to be different anyway. He's like, I know you like to keep track of your OCD. He's like, but it doesn't really matter. He goes, I don't need to know what he did last year because there's no way he's going to do the same thing this year. So Chris goes, if I keep it, I'm going to look at that too much rather than do what I think he should do based on what I see. I don't want to check my notes too much and sabotage myself. And I was like, oh, that's pretty smart. Makes sense.
Yeah.
But I know Nick's got to eat. Jeremy, dude, this was awesome, man. We got to catch up.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
We got to have you back.
So the people that didn't hear the story at the beginning, I got my Facebook hacked because I got an email from
Mutant in the mouth.
Yeah, I got an email saying I was going to be on the podcast, and it came from an email looked like Guy. I mean, it was a pretty.
No, it said Mutant in the mouth. It said me and Nick.
Yeah. So I got on a phone call because I thought we were doing a Facebook Live. The email said, and Guy was supposed to pay me $2,000. Am I still getting that for this episode?
Yeah, absolutely. You have to give me your memo.
So they told me they're going to pay me $2,000. I'm like, wow, Guy's doing really well. That Kratom company's taking off. He's got to do this for a tax write-off. Wow. So anyways, I get on a phone call with apparently Guy's assistant, And you know, my head was in the clouds doing some Facebook thing, trying to get him in there, and I accidentally gave him access to my business manager on there. So then next morning I wake up and there's like 4 different emails saying that are accessing my Facebook. I'm like, that doesn't seem right. So I call Guy or text Guy.
No. Yeah, okay.
Text the guys, are we still on for the Facebook or the podcast tonight? He goes, whose, mine or yours? I was like, fuck. You know, if I call him, like, really tell me you're messing with me right now. He's like, no, what are you talking about? I'm like, fuck.
I was completely, yeah. I thought when you text me that I must have accidentally agreed to be on like your podcast and forgot. So I was like, and then I was like, did me or Nick ask you to cut? Like, I just didn't remember. And then you're like, you called me and you're like, please tell me that was you. And I was like, what? You're like, that wasn't like you or your assistant on the phone. I was like, dude, I have no idea what you're fucking talking about.
Yeah. I did get my Facebook back.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, my back end team got a hold of Meta and they fixed it for me, so we're good.
Do you know Joey? Do you know Joey Stacks?
Yeah.
He was
I
asking.
don't know him personally, but I know he is.
Can I send him your info? Can you send him your guy? Because he's still locked out of his account.
I can see. I mean, they're my marketing company. They're a big marketing firm, so
Yeah.
I can, they want to do it for them, but I don't know if I can.
I'm sure he'll be willing to do whatever to get it. But so, guys, there's a lot of scam artists out there. If you get an email that you're like, is this? Just delete it. If they send you an email, they can always resend it again. If you question it, don't open it the fuck up. And apparently, this has happened to a lot of people, even big name celebrities. It happened to.
Dude, the comments are hilarious. Somebody's like, did somebody tell Jeremy about the black Nigerian prince that needs money? I was like,
Please give me your bank account and your social security number so I can put it in your you just inherited.
I wasn't even mad about the comments. I was laughing at the comments were hilarious. So fuck all you guys.
I didn't when I said it, I didn't think to.
I know, I'm like, thanks, bro. And everybody thinks I'm a fucking idiot.
I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, bro, because I was like, oh, dude, I said, I wasn't even thinking. I was putting out the video as like a PSA, like, hey, guys, nobody do this. But
so, by the way, Jeremy, at the end of it.
BTW, Jeremy's a turd.
No, we're good, though. I appreciate you guys having me.
No, dude. Awesome. No, man, it was awesome. We're going
to see my little princess.
Look at the princess. You look so pretty.
Say hi. Say goodbye. We're all done.
Say, click your, tell her to, when she hits the wand, we'll end it. Say bye-bye and go woof.
Do it.
Do it by yourself.
1, 2, 3, bye.